Before I died, I cried to my senior brother that I was sorry for the Hahuan sect, and I was still a single dog until I died. When I open my eyes again, I will become a waste empress. The Prime Minister wants me to die quickly, the General wants me to die farther away, and even my intended imperial husband hates me to the extreme. Forget it, the country will be destroyed anyway, let's live one day at a time. But later the country got better and better, and the eyes of those three people looked at me more and more strangely, which suddenly reminded me of my senior brother's words before I died. Junior sister, even if you look back, you can't say such a thing. Who in our Hahuan sect has you, scumbag? One I sat on the dragon chair, listening to the quarrel below, and my eyes gradually emptied. I was supposed to die, but I lived again. Good news, I became the empress. The bad news, this country is dying. The officials below quarreled, those who fought said that there was no military rations, those who managed money said that the treasury was empty, the talented looked on coldly, and the talentless waited to get some oil and water. A big mess. Maybe I was annoyed by the noise, and my heart, which had been calm for a long time, also rarely gave birth to a little irritability. I stood up and walked off the stage. The people who were still making a fuss all stopped because of my movements. The person in front of him was still crying and wiping his tears. I have been working in the Ministry of Household Affairs for 10 years, and I have no merit or hard work, and the treasury is empty, and the deficit is deficit every year, Your Majesty knows it. What's his name? Forget it, it doesn't matter. The treasury has long been exhausted by him, and he is so rich that he can't get a little grain and grass at the border. Oh, this goods also spent 100,000 taels for his youngest daughter a few days ago, just to buy a hairpin. I walked up to him, drew the sword from the waist of the guard next to me, and wiped his throat at once. Clean and neat, he didn't even give him a chance to moan. In order to prevent being splashed with blood, I also took 2 steps back. Everyone looked at me in shock. I looked at the military general who was arguing with him. After a while, you will take someone to raid his house, only take what you want, and honestly put the rest back to the treasury for me, understand? If you have money and lose the battle, his fate will be yours. After the general fainted briefly, he immediately received the order to leave with a surprised face. At this time, the others in the court also came to their senses and began to condemn me. Your Majesty, even if this household minister is guilty, he should be judged by a special person, and you are too arbitrary to do this. Yes, Your Majesty, as a king, you must not go your own way. Even if the house is raided, the money of the household department must not be taken over by a military general, which is not in accordance with the rules. Yes, this is not in accordance with the rules. They were noisy, thinking that I was the coward of the original owner, and they wanted to pinch me in just a few words. I looked around and only 3 people present were looking at me carefully, their eyes dark. Prime Minister Pei Rufu. The Grand General is Gu Yuan. Grand Tutor Jiang Hong. I only glanced at them, and then walked up to the Minister of Rights who spoke the most with my sword. His mouth was full of disagreement, but as I gradually approached, his voice became quieter, and finally he trembled and knelt in front of me. The blood on the sword had not yet dried, and it fell in front of him, and he trembled even more fiercely. Someone couldn't stand it and stood up. Your Majesty, what you have done today is chilling, and I advise you to die. I didn't bother to listen to him talk nonsense and interrupted him directly. Okay, I agree, you can hit it to death. The men didn't seem to expect me to say that and froze in place. But I coldly said, isn't it a dead advice? Let's die first. Hurry up. The men knelt directly on the ground. This kneeling made many people kneel down in succession, shouting kindness. I threw my sword directly on the ground and looked at General Gu Yuan. Did you see anyone kneeling on the ground? Lead the troops to raid the house, 5 points will belong to you, and 5 points will be put into the treasury. The people kneeling below were dumbfounded, and this time the emotions of crying and sparing their lives were much more sincere. Pei Rumming, who had been watching the play for a long time, stood up. Your Majesty, if you depose so many officials at once, I am afraid that the state will be shaken. He lowered his eyebrows and eyes, as if respectful, but his straight spine had no loyalty. I sat back on the dragon chair. Then let your people make up for it, Pei Xiong. Isn't this a good opportunity? Pei Rumming hurriedly replied, I don't dare. I supported my chin with my right hand, completely looking like a faint king, as if smiling. As long as I am the emperor, I have the final say. Can't get used to it. Then you rebelled. Pei Rumming was appointed as the prime minister, and half of the courtiers were related to him, and they wished I could die quickly every day. Gu Yuan, the general of the protectorate, holds military power, and wishes I could die far away every day. And I, the Empress of Rongwa, only have one mouth left, which is not false at all. The big deal is that I will turn Huan sect to start cultivating again. Who is afraid of whom? 2. My name is Xianyue, and in the Huan sect, Shouyuan came to an end because he could not break through the realm for a long time. Feeling the loss of vitality, I looked at my senior brother with tears in my eyes. Brother, I am sorry for Master's teachings, I learned so much in vain, but in the end I am still a single dog. If I hadn't been able to break through my love for a long time, I wouldn't have been able to break through. The senior brother's affectionate eyes seemed to contain a pool of spring water, and just one glance made people fall into it. But I only saw the word speechless at this moment. I don't know if it was the dazzle caused by my imminent death, and he seemed to roll his eyes extremely ungracefully. Junior sister, even if you look back, you can't say such cold words. I was very confused. Senior brother, why did you say that? Senior brother closed his eyes. Let me ask you, the young sect master of the Tianyun sect gave you a crane a few days ago. Isn't that for me to eat? Senior brother gritted his teeth. Okay, what about the time sent by the Medicine King sect? I get angry when I talk about this, and I give people medicine. Is he cursing me to finish? Senior brother clenched his fists. Okay. Then that kid from Gaifengtang confessed to you, you have nothing to say, right? I nodded, but senior brother, you said that you want to leave immediately, and you can't let the other party guess what you're thinking, so I pretended to refuse and agreed later. Then how long did you refuse? 30 years. When I finally remembered it, he was already married. Senior brother couldn't bear it anymore and finally sighed. I don't know whether to scold you for scumbags or for being stupid. You always flirt with people without knowing it because you are good looking. It makes other people's hearts flutter, and you pull away again, cold-hearted. Junior sister, our Huan sect, who has you scum? I wanted to cry without tears, senior brother, but I can't see through it. Before the last tear fell, I heard a lot of crying, which was a bit familiar but not much. When I opened my eyes again, I had become the waste empress of Rongwa. 3. After the morning court, I looked at the memorial and ate refreshments, which made me feel uncomfortable. The court was full of moths, enemies outside the border came slowly, the people were taxed heavily, and the people were miserable. This country will end sooner or later. Don't live, everyone. Unexpectedly, before I finished my cup of tea, Gu Yuan and Pei Rumming came over. Gu Yuan was impatient, and as soon as he finished his salute, he stepped in front of me in one step. What you said today is still okay. I hummed softly. He hesitated. Do you know how much money those ministers will copy? I hummed again. He frowned. Then what does your majesty want me to do? I finally put down the memorial and looked at him. I don't show it yet. Gu Yuan's face turned blue and red, red and white and black. I can't be your majesty's imperial husband. You go to the border to lead the troops to fight. We both spoke in unison, and then we all fell silent. I forgot that the original owner actually wanted to accept him in order to get military power. My eyes looked at Gu Yuan again. Although the figure is good, this kind of leading soldiers is the least understanding, which is really boring. Gu Yuan looked at my looking gaze, trembled all over and quickly took the order. Since your majesty has an order, then I will prepare first. He couldn't wait to go back quickly. The guards were all the people he brought out, and he had been anxious for a long time when foreign enemies had been late, but the original owner did not let him go, which made him very disgusted with the original owner. I took another sip of tea and waved at him. External and internal troubles, finally solve one first. Gu Yuan left in a hurry, leaving Pei Rumming standing alone in front of me. To be honest, I really annoy this kind of smart person. Because this generally means that you have to use your brain to deceive him. Pei Rumming sat down opposite me and refilled me with a cup of tea. Your Majesty is very different today. I leaned lazily on the chaise longue, not even bothering to lift my eyelids. Oh, so what? Pei Rumming took a sip of tea unhurriedly, smiling warmly, but his tone was full of oppression. I almost think that Your Majesty has changed someone. He was testing me. I hummed indifferently, I'm still the same, Pei Xiong, if you have evidence you will rebel. To deal with this kind of person, he likes to hide and tuck in, and you will show your card. If you tell the truth, he will have to guess for a long time. Sure enough, Pei Rumming's eyes immediately darkened. After a while, he lowered his head. Your Majesty is joking. He changed the subject and started drinking tea and chatting. It's the same as the truth. I listened to Pei Rumming talk about how rare the tea in his hand was for a long time, and then drank it all in one gulp. Pei Rumming paused rarely, and then shut up. I don't know what Pei Rumming is waiting for until. Rong Yu. You're crazy. A red figure rushed in a hurry. How did Rongwu end up in the hands of you, a waste? If only. He saw Pei Rumming, swallowed the following words, and saluted him properly. Look, no one takes me as an emperor seriously. Insult at will, feel free to grasp. Especially the young master of the Jiang family in front of him, Jiang Xiu. The predetermined imperial husband, the only son of Jiang Taifu. In their eyes, those dead princes and princesses, whoever ascended the throne was better than me. I looked at the person who came and spoke lightly. Kneel down. Jiang Xiu was stunned for a moment. What? This time I directly raised my voice. Come on, drag this person down and hit the 10 boards hard, and then throw it back to the Jiang family, and ask Taifu Jiang if this is how he taught his son. I showed disgust on my face. I don't know how to advance or retreat, there is no respect, and he can't sit in the position of this emperor. Jiang Xiu seemed to be provoked by something, and he was furious. Who wants to be your royal husband? If you hadn't fortified me. I nodded and interrupted him. Very good, the imperial decree to break off the marriage will be delivered to your home in a while. Ignoring his almost sluggish expression, I waved my hand and asked someone to drag it down. Pei Rumming finished watching the play and took his leave with satisfaction. Before leaving, he looked at me with a smile. I just hope that tomorrow morning, Your Majesty will be like today. Tomorrow. I suddenly reacted. Tomorrow is the day when the enemy sends envoys to negotiate. He wants to see my jokes. I want to see how I can become emperor without the support of my courtiers. Unfortunately, he didn't know that a person in a high position and went crazy. How terrible it is. For Jiang Hong went to the imperial study at night to apologize. He knelt on the ground and remained silent until now. I sat in my chair, looked at the memorial, and didn't speak. In the future, simply set a new rule, and then write nonsense on the fold to reward the board. I can't say the point for a long time. After a stick of incense, the eunuch on the side couldn't hold on and approached me in a low voice. Your Majesty, Lord Taifu has been kneeling for a long time. I looked up at him. Are you his person? When the eunuch heard this, he immediately knelt on the ground in fright, trembling like a sieve, and looked at Jiang Hong over and over again with a look of help. Jiang Hong remained unmoved. Such a chess piece is not worth his mouth. I directly asked someone to drag the eunuch down. I don't need someone else's dog. After such an episode, Jiang Hong took the lead in speaking. Your Majesty, Xiu'er said you want to break off the engagement. I directly threw the divorce letter that had been written on the side in front of Jiang Hong. Just right, so as not to have to ask someone to send it to you. Jiang Hong didn't pick it up, just looked at me. Your Majesty, have you really thought about it? He was threatening me. The civil servants in the court, Pei Ruming held half of it, Jiang Hong led the other half, and the military power was in Gu Yuan's hands, standing on 3 legs, leaving half of me as an emperor. The original owner survived in the cracks, and wanted to gain some power through marriage. But she herself is just a chess piece, how can she get on the chessboard? In such a situation, the best way is to simply overturn the game of chess and reshuffle the cards in order to win a place. I supported my chin with my hand. Of course, Jiang Hong, it is said that it is the fault of not raising a godfather. Jiang Xiu collided with the emperor today and spoke rudely. It seems that you taught it well. What? Do you want to sit in this position too? Then you rebel. Jiang Hong looked at me for a long time, and knelt down again. Minister. I dare not. Of course he didn't dare, because Pei Ruming didn't dare. The division is nameless, even if it is famous, as long as one person dares to do it, the remaining 2 forces can join forces immediately. They didn't dare to move. But I dare. In this battle, the advantage is mine. I curled my red lips. Tai Fu, since you don't dare, you have to hide your tail, isn't it? It's not just me here today, Pei Ruming is also here. Do you want to hand him a handle? Jiang Hong stopped talking and left with the divorce letter. The next day, there was news that Jiang Xiu was recuperating at home after Jiang Hong broke his leg. It is really a father's kindness and filial piety. 5 early the next morning, the envoys of the Han Kingdom arrived in the capital, and were received by Pei Ruming. When I went to the court to meet him, I saw the malicious smile on the corner of his mouth at a glance. When I looked at the unattractive young man next to the envoy, I had already guessed 7 points. Sure enough, after a few pleasantries, the envoy of the Han Kingdom pushed the young man with his chin raised. The 2 countries are good, naturally marriage is indispensable. This is the 3rd prince of our country, the most happy to enjoy the cultural customs of your country. Presumably you must be able to talk to your Majesty very well. The ministers present were all looking at their noses, and none of them spoke. After all, my actions yesterday offended both factions. No one spoke. Then I'll do it myself. With a sneer, I looked at the envoy of the cold country. Come on, tie him up for me. No one moved. I picked up the sword I put aside and looked straight at Pei Ruming. You want me to do it myself? Pei Ruming had a gloomy face, and finally raised his hand to signal. Soon, the Praetorian guards came over and tied up the 2. The envoy of the Han Kingdom shouted, Does your Majesty want to provoke a war between the 2 countries? I directly asked someone to block his mouth for me. This time, no one dares to ignore my words. The ministers seemed to have come back to their souls and began to accuse me word by word. I looked at the silent general. Tell Gu Yuan that he will also beat me in the Han Kingdom, and if he can't win, he will go to raid the homes of these ministers, and all the money he copies will buy him food and horses. At this time, the ministers were dumbfounded, crying to the sky, and some even submitted their resignation. I smiled and agreed, yes, but before you get out, you can't take a penny of the money that doesn't belong to you. Pei Ruming and Jiang Tu-hong could no longer be sideliners. Pei Ruming looked at me gloomily. Your Majesty's actions may cause chaos in the court and shake the state. Jiang Hong didn't laugh anymore. Your Majesty is young, you must not ruin the country because of your childish nature. I smiled and drew my sword and pointed it straight at them. If you want the court to be stable, then let the people below you honestly take out the money to fight for me. If you want this country, just work for me honestly, otherwise, don't want it. Pei Ruming's face was so dark that he could almost drip water. Wen Xianyue, you are crazy. I smiled brightly, but my eyes were like ice. Yes, I'm crazy. Pei Ruming, Jiang Hong, do you dare to fight with me? I am the only one left in the Wen family. I am not afraid of death, so what about you? Do you dare to use your life to fight me to break the net? They don't dare. Finally, they were one step away from the position above these 10,000 people, and they didn't dare. The next day, a message was spreading all over the capital. The empress went crazy. In the court, he killed the ministers, targeted the cold country, and raided the house. These news spread like snowflakes. 6. Do they think they can control me with just rumors? Taking this opportunity, I directly issued a new order. Reduce taxes by 10%. The newly appointed Minister of Household Affairs couldn't sit still on the spot. Your Majesty, this treasury is empty, how can taxes be reduced again? I looked at everyone with a smile, isn't this still I-Ching? From today onwards, officials of the 7th rank and above will collect taxes according to the head of their family members, and the 5th rank and above will be doubled. The court is corrupt and there are more than a dozen concubines in a 7th rank official alone, not to mention countless slaves. At this time, many officials directly submitted their resignations. After I accepted them one by one, I said the next sentence. After resigning, one person will have 10 taels of silver, and the rest of the family property will be deposited into the treasury. Now, some people have already begun to curse. But soon they shut up because the black-clad guards wearing black armor and holding spears surrounded them. This is the deal I made with Gu Yuan before leaving. 10,000 elite soldiers are for me to drive, and half of the gold and silver obtained from plundering houses will be shared with him. He was short of money, I was short of people, and we hit it off. Probably to show his sincerity, he also specially gave me 100 black-clad guards. Looking at this battle, the people present turned pale and trembled. Of course, in addition to Pei Rumming and Jiang Hong, there are also their real confidants. Both of them stood aside without concern to see what I was going to do. Of course, I will not drive these chess pieces abandoned by them to a dead end. Thus, as long as there is a glimmer of hope, then it cannot be forced to die. I continued, of course, the ministers have no merit or hard work. Looking at their distress-like eyes, I smiled and bent my eyes. Well, I'll play a game with you. As long as you can recommend talented people who are qualified for your official positions, I will let you deduct the family business as appropriate. The more capable you are, the more valuable. Before I could finish speaking, Jiang Hong interrupted me. It's about the state, how can it be child's play? I wasn't angry, I just looked at Pei Rumming. Originally, this candidate wanted to be selected with the 2 adults, since Jiang Taifu was unwilling, then Pei Xiang should work harder. Jiang Hong disagreed, of course, to prevent my people from entering the court, but he didn't expect me to directly involve both of them. Now that he said this, it was even harder for him to repent. Jiang Hong's face turned blue. Angry. In the morning, Pei Rumming came to the Imperial Garden with a food box to find me. As soon as the box was opened, there were roasted pigeons inside. If I'm not mistaken, it should be the carrier pigeon I let out last night. He set up a chessboard and invited me to play chess. I didn't expect Your Majesty to have such a good relationship with General Gu now. I followed with a son. Compared to you, he is easier to deceive. Pei Rumming curled the corners of his mouth. Your Majesty is now a true temperament, which impresses me. It's just that Your Majesty is still too young, and when you get a little benefit, you can't wait to express it. This chess. You have to go down to the end to know whether you win or lose. Your Majesty, you lost. I looked at the white man who was besieged on the chessboard and smiled. Pei Xiang, you may still not know me very well. I overturned the chessboard, and the black and white pieces rolled to the ground. With me, there is no losing, only dying together. Pei Rumming's eyes suddenly became much deeper, and his thin lips pursed tightly. After a while, he saluted me. So, I know. He took 2 steps and stopped again. Is Your Majesty reducing taxes because you want to fight us, or because you see the suffering of the people's livelihood? I didn't speak. He waited for a while and lifted his foot to leave. When it was mid-air in July, I finally waited for a reply. The letter to Gu Yuan was just to confuse Pei Rumming and Jiang Hong. What I really want to send is the letter I sent to my brother. The letter briefly explained my current situation, and asked him to send my original spirit sword, and some life-saving things. Senior brother replied. Looking at the letter, the junior sister's life is particularly exciting, but is there a word to investigate the love? I replied, the love was not broken, and the emperor was broken. If you don't accept it, do it. Looking at the motionless spirit sword, now that I am immortal, I can only take it with me every day for comfort. The new decree was implemented extremely smoothly, and officials from all walks of life even held several rounds of competitions in private in order to recommend talents. Then pay ruling and I screened, and the people in the upper positions did some practical things. At least the tax reduction and exemption have been implemented. For a while, no one scolded me for being crazy, but instead praised me. Look, as long as the people are well fed and warmly clothed, who cares who sits on it? Are you crazy or not? Jiang Hong couldn't sit still. When Jiang Xiu came, I was painting. Compared with his last behavior, he obviously pretended to be a lot more forceful this time, and he looked like a humble gentleman in his gestures. Elegant and polite. I just ignored it. Jiang Xiu saw that I ignored him, his face turned pale, and his whole body was shaky. His appearance is more well-behaved and immature, coupled with this pitiful appearance, I am afraid that others have already relented. It's just that I've been in the Hehuan sect for so long, and I can guess the methods of the brothers with my eyes closed. It may be enough to deceive the original owner, but it is far from deceiving me. Your Majesty, I have been eating some food recently. Don't. That minister will play. For you. I don't listen. That. Get out. Jiang Xiu's small face was as white as transparent, you used to. I once again predicted what he was going to say, and simply picked it out. It's all just a show, Jiang Xiu, when I spoiled you, you made heaven and earth, and now I'm tired of it, and you stick it upside down, are you cheap? Jiang Xiu didn't seem to expect me to say such a thing, his legs went weak, and he almost fell to the ground, but fortunately he held on to the pillar on the side. Tears slipped from the corners of his eyes, and the whole person was shaking, adding a bit of broken beauty. When you need me, please me in every way, and kick me away when you don't need me, you are so ruthless. I sneered, each other, Jiang Xiu, no one will fall in love with someone who humiliates them in every way. Tell me, what's the matter with your father asking you to come over? Jiang Xiu was in a trance, and it took a long time before he spoke like sleepwalking. My father said that the annual sacrifice is about to begin, and I hope to know what else you have to do. I nodded, you go, don't come in the future. Jiang Xiu's whole body trembled, you. He paused and finally spoke cautiously. If I say 2-8, I'm actually moved, but I want to confirm your feelings for me more. I interrupted him and looked up at him seriously, without a trace of affection in my eyes. You don't want to test my heart, do you want to see to what extent I won't want you, isn't it tempting now? Jiang Xiu seemed to have been struck by lightning, and then staggered, crying and laughing. My thoughts returned to his words. Among the three, the original owner initially preferred to cooperate with Jiang Hong. Not only because of Jiang Xiu's relationship, but also because Jiang Hong had taught her for a period of time, and she was very dependent on Jiang Hong. The two agreed that on the day of the sacrifice, pay rumming would be removed. But now, no matter whether Jiang Hong really wants to fulfill the agreement, pay rumming is resolutely unmoved. Guyuan has been taken away by me, and I need pay rumming and Jiang Hong to pull each other so that I can have room to operate. After the implementation of the tax reduction decree, I don't know why, but I got a trace of meritorious power, and I could barely have a sign of cultivation. At least, before I returned to the Hehuan sect. Pei Rufu could not die. 3 months later, the annual sacrifice began. The mighty team set off for the Hugua temple together. Just to pass the time, Pei Rumming and I casually chatted about the increasing rain in the south, which gradually developed into a flood. Of course, I am only responsible for coming up with ideas, and Pei Rumming needs to implement them. In these slightly farther places, Pei Rumming's words are more effective than my emperor. The discussion came to an end, and Pei Rumming looked at me with more and more complicated eyes. He poured me a cup of tea. Your Majesty is becoming more and more like a wise ruler now. I wasn't polite to him. Pei Xiang has been talking more and more recently. Pei Rumming once again tempted. After all, your Majesty's temperament has suddenly changed so drastically, and I am still a little frightened. I grabbed him by the collar and pulled him towards me. I'm crazy, isn't it? Lord Pei's credit. As soon as the words fell, a sharp arrow flew in and passed through Pei Rumming's position just now. If I hadn't pulled him, I would have shot through my brain. Just now I found out that the carriage we were riding in was getting more and more deviant, and there were fewer and fewer people following behind. In the end, I still underestimated Jiang Hong's eyeliner buried in the palace. I'm afraid he not only wants to get rid of Pei Rumming, but also wants to kill me by the way. Thinking of this, I laughed angrily. Old man, I'll kill you when I go back. I held Pei Rumming's wrist. If Pei Xiang wants to live, he has to follow me. He looked at me, still teasing. Your Majesty has left me now. It is not better to run for your life alone. There is one less enemy, and your Majesty's throne is more secure. I immediately let go of Pei Rumming's hand. This time, Pei Rumming grabbed my hand. I am joking, thank your Majesty. Oh, it's both vegetable and fun. I grabbed Pei Rumming, threw him directly on the horseback in front of the carriage, and then jumped and hugged his waist. With a wave of the long sword, he cut off the horse rope and rushed straight forward. Dozens of men in black gathered around to stop us. I swung my sword again to force the approaching enemy back. Master Pei, you have to sit still. Grabbing the horse's mane, I directly killed one person and left quickly with Pei Rumming. Suddenly my back hurt. Pei Rumming seemed to feel something and wanted to turn back. I clasped his waist. Look at the road, I'm not familiar with this place, don't turn your head and run into a dead end and be caught in a jar. Pei Rumming stopped talking and focused on controlling the direction of the horse. Pei Rumming really investigated this place in advance and soon found a hidden cave. As soon as he got off the horse, I couldn't help but lie on the horse and gasp for breath. Pei Rumming looked at the arrow stuck in my back and quickly helped me down. Breathing a sigh of relief, I took out the elixir and ate one, then took out a porcelain bottle and handed it to him. Help me pull out the arrow. Pei Rumming's eyes widened. You are crazy. The place where the arrow is shot is close to the heart, and you will die if you pull it out alive. Of course not, the elixir my brother gave me will protect my heart, nothing at all. But of course I won't tell Pei Rumming these words. Pei Rumming, are you so afraid that I will die at your hands? Pei Rumming didn't answer me, just stood up and walked out. I'll go find you a doctor. I endured the pain in my back and gasped, it's too late, if Jiang Hong knows that I was hit by an arrow, he will definitely surround this place. He won't give you a chance to go to the doctor. Of course Pei Rumming knew, but at this time, he had no way at all. I gritted my teeth. Hurry up, I'm dying of pain. Or do you want me to leave you a will, saying that my death has nothing to do with you? Pei Ru smiled angrily. Your Majesty is really a madman. He gritted his teeth and held the arrow. I only felt that my eyes were dark, and then there was severe pain. Pei Rumming hurriedly gave me medicine. I took out another porcelain bottle and gave it to him. Take. Cover me with this. This is a medicine developed by the senior brother for quick repair. No matter how serious the injury is, it will not leave a scar. The Hehuan sect loves beauty the most, and I don't want to go back and be ridiculed by my senior brother. Seeing that Pei Rumming hadn't answered for a long time, as soon as I looked up, I saw that his face was whiter than mine, and red blood was splashed at the corners of his eyes, adding a bit of enchanting beauty. TSK, just a little blood, it's really useless to scare it like this. I called him twice more before he reacted. So Pei Xiang tore the clothes behind me bigger in embarrassment, carefully applied the medicine, and barely bandaged the fabric torn off from his underwear. He helped me into the cave, looked at me sweating profusely and pale, and asked me worriedly, Your Majesty, are you okay? Not very good, this mortal body is weaker than I thought, and I even feel a little chilled. It was a last resort just now, but now, what should be guarded against must be guarded. I leaned against the stone wall, trying not to expose my weakness at the moment. It's okay, I'm a little tired, rest for a while. Then I fell into darkness. 10 When I woke up again, I saw Gu Yuan with a complicated face for the first time, and then I looked up and saw Pei Rumming holding me in his arms. I wanted to speak, but my voice was so hoarse that I couldn't speak. Gu Yuan hurriedly handed me the water. Finally recovered, I could even feel the elixir repairing my body. I pushed Pei Rumming away and walked towards Gu Yuan. Jiang Hong caught it. Pei Rumming sneered and said strangely, "Your Majesty is really worried about the country and the people all the time." Gu Yuan supported me. "I have caught it," he said, "that you are dead, and want to divide the country equally with me." I looked up and looked into his eyes. "What do you think?" From the beginning, the partner I chose to cooperate with was Gu Yuan. Gu Yuan's idea was very simple, he wanted to lead the troops to fight. I used silver as bait to force him to protect me. All conspiracies are not as important as military power. Of course, I also told him Jiang Hong's plan, but I didn't expect him to come back to save me in person. Before he could speak, Pei Rumming came over first. "Let's find the imperial doctor first, Our Majesty's life is almost gone." I tilted my head and scolded him, "If I die, won't it be just as Pei Xiang wanted?" Pei Rumming's face darkened instantly. He was really strange. I asked tentatively, "Pei Rumming, did something happen last night? Why are you holding me?" He had a cold face. "It's nothing, it's just that Your Majesty has a high fever that doesn't go away, and Wei Chen took care of you all night." I nodded, "Thank you for your hard work." Then asked Gu Yuan to help me out. "I have already given you the list of Jiang Hong's subordinates. I have arrested them all, and I have already prepared the person to replace him." Gu Yuan couldn't help but interrupt me, "Your Majesty, I'll send you back to the palace first, don't worry, it will be fine." Feel relieved? How can you rest assured? Pei Rumming and Gu Yuan also couldn't wait for me to die. I immediately took 2 steps back warily, my eyebrows darkened. "Gu Yuan, do you want to force the palace?" Gu Yuan couldn't laugh or cry. "I won't move your throne." He picked me up directly and walked in the direction of the carriage. "The Han Kingdom has been repulsed, and they didn't even take that waste prince back. The border has settled down, and thanks to the money you sent, the wounded soldiers have been healed. This time I came back and the people were praising you everywhere. The original moth was eliminated by you, and the new one was afraid of you, but he was conscientious, and the people's life was getting better and better. Xian Yue, it's my fault, you are the most qualified emperor." I was held by him, my thoughts gradually diverged and my fatigue came up again. Yes, I forgot. The original owner and Gu Yuan can also be regarded as childhood sweethearts. However, Gu Yuan was loyal to her brother. Later, Gu Yuan went to the border to fight, and when he came back, the original owner had already sat on the throne. The dust settled and Gu Yuan didn't want to rebel, but the original owner was a waste. Officials were allowed to accept bribes, oppress the people, and withhold military salaries. Forced Gu Yuan to have the idea of rebellion. Before I fell asleep again, a thought echoed in my mind. Sure enough. Don't force people to death, as long as there is a little way to survive, no one will develop into an uncontrollable place. 11 When he woke up, he was already in the palace. The body has been cleaned and the wounds have been properly bandaged. Coupled with the repair of the elixir, there is basically no big problem. I put on my clothes at will and asked someone to summon Gu Yuan. Now it has been determined that Gu Yuan will not rebel, Jiang Hong has been arrested, and only Pei Rumming is left unresolved. Unexpectedly, Gu Yuan came with Pei Rumming. Pei Rumming reported the situation in the lower court. Jiang Hong's power has been eliminated, and there have been people in various positions, and there is no big problem at present. My heart suddenly trembled. Oh no, with Pei Rumming's temperament, I'm afraid they are all arranged by their own people, and now he controls most of the court. I have been busy for so long, and I have made wedding dresses for Pei Rumming. Pei Rumming saw me glaring at him, a little inexplicable. Your Majesty. Forget it, now Gu Yuan is on my side, and the military power is in hand, and I will try to do it slowly later. I smiled but didn't smile. Thank you for your hard work, Pei Xiong. Pei Xiong is also frightened, so let's go back and rest early. Was about to call Gu Yuan, but Pei Rumming remained motionless. I looked at him suspiciously. Pei Xiong. Pei Rumming nodded. I am here. I was speechless. You step back first. Pei Rumming glanced at Gu Yuan again. General Gu together. I was even more speechless, and I pointed it out directly. I will leave General Gu to discuss important matters. Pei Xiong, you are not suitable here. Pei Rumming was unmoved. What's the important thing? I will assist your majesty in your advisors. Even if you want to murder me, I can listen. Pei Rumming, do you want to listen to what you are saying? I lost my breath, coughed a few times, and felt my back wet again. I called the palace maids, changed the dressing for me. Then he looked at Pei Rumming. Can Pei Xiong leave now? Then he stopped Gu Yuan. You wait. Pei Rumming turned cold and walked away directly. Jiang Hong sent Jiang Xiu to escape before being imprisoned. Jiang Xiu asked someone to bring me a letter. He said he wouldn't take revenge, and that he wanted to go to me to find the place where I painted. It turned out that he saw it that day. It's a pity that he can't find it in his life. Because it is the Hehuan sect. 12 I thought Pei Rumming and I were going to have a good fight. Unexpectedly, he was like a different person, and he responded to what I said, and the decree issued was not hindered in the slightest. The people are getting better and better, but my hair is falling out more and more. I don't understand, I really don't understand. If Pei Rumming was the same as before, I could still find his flaws, but now all the temptations are like a punch on cotton, and there is no reaction at all. He even helped me improve it. What is going on? I wrote another letter to my brother. In addition to talking about his cultivation progress, he also wrote about Pei Rumming. At the end of the letter, I was very pessimistic. Senior brother, I'm afraid he has already made a big move, maybe I'm going to lose this time. I hope you can come and save me before I die. This time, it took a long time for my brother to reply to me. Junior sister, I went to find a fellow Taoist of the sword sect. You go to practice the ruthless path, and you will definitely achieve great things. Me? But the senior brother still felt sorry for me, so he still came over. He glanced at me and marveled. Junior sister, you are like a ball glowing with golden light now. I was speechless. If you can't speak, you can shut up. The senior brother picked up the petals on my hair for me, and a pair of affectionate eyes were as tender as water. I'm afraid you can't go back yet, the cultivation world is not a good place to cultivate merit. This is the best place for you to practice. I frowned. I worry about losing my hair every day, and I'm really tired. Senior brother smiled. Don't worry, I will give you alchemy when I go back, and your hair will be soft and black and shiny, and you won't be able to lose a single one. Your Majesty. I raised my eyes and saw Pei Rumming walking over with a pale face. His eyes were full of hostility when he looked at his senior brother. I sank my face. Pei Xiong is in trouble. Pei Rumming took a deep breath. Your Majesty, are you going to choose the Emperor's husband? Where is this? I was about to speak, but my brother took my hand and then shut up. Senior brother smiled. This. Young master, what does this have to do with you? Pei Rumming's face turned blue and white, and finally regained his composure. Minister, self-recommendation. What the hell? What do you recommend? My face was full of shock. This is as terrifying as a sworn enemy who has always wanted to kill you, and one day suddenly says that he wants to sleep with you. I refused. No. Pei Rumming stiffened. Why? I bluntly said, I don't like you. Pei Rumming seemed to be in disbelief. You don't like me, why did you sacrifice your life to save me? Why do you leave everything to me to do, isn't it because you like it? Also, why did you find so many excuses to see me? Forehead. This is normal temptation and intrigue, don't add so much drama, okay? What have you been making up for these days? The more Pei Rumming spoke, the more excited he became, pointing at his senior brother. Then who do you like? Do you like him? My senior brother and I looked at each other and shivered. No, what's the difference between this incest? The senior brother grabbed my mouth and wanted to explain. This young master, you may have misunderstood something. I am just a passerby, and I have no intention of being a royal husband. Pei Rumming sneered. I saw it all. What did he see? I waved my brother's hand. Pei Rumming, 9, you either be this Pei Xiong well, or you can resign. I made it clear I never liked it. Pei Rumming, didn't you want my life in the first plaque? Pei Rumming smiled bitterly. Since we were enemies from the beginning, how can we become husband and wife now? I just want to keep this country. Jiang Hong connived at the corruption of his subordinates, and you don't care about the government. I just want to keep this country, and not let the people become prisoners of the enemy. Am I wrong? I shook my head. You're right, but our position at the beginning was not the identity of being able to work side by side. Pei Rumming left with a pale face. My brother looked at his back for a long time, and then asked me, are you really not moved at all? I was speechless. How to move? When I see him, I only think of him full of bad water and wants to frame me. Senior brother was speechless. Where is that little general? I shook my head. I went to the border again, but I didn't give me some military power, so I can be regarded as having a conscience. He said that as long as the people are well, he will never come back. The senior brother's face was speechless. Who asked you this? I felt a little disgusted with him. Don't be full of love. Here, love is something that can kill people. I'm really vulnerable right now. If I had tied up these people with love like the original owner at the beginning, I would have long known which mountain I was buried on, and the grass on the grave would be taller than me. Senior brother sighed. Junior sister, you go and practice the ruthless path. Really, it is suitable for you. After my brother left, I worked hard to be a good king and cultivate merit. In my last days, I picked out a qualified heir from the collateral lineage. Pei Rumming never mentioned the word like again, but he assisted me all my life. He was like to prove that we are not enemies. But we all know that the premise is that I am not a fool. After looking for a day, I faked my death and left, and went straight to the Hehuan sect. I heard that only a little over a month after my death, Pei Rumming also passed away. But none of this matters. In the past, only cultivation is the right way in the future.